I'm gonna hit the go live. Broadcast webinar. All right, it's launching. Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Come on. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm live. I'm about to edit this. All right, edit this summary so I can attach you. All right. I'm gonna just do it from my phone. Sometimes it's a lot faster on your phone. It's crazy. All right. Okay, I'm about to add you in. Josea Stanford. Josea Stanford. Okay. All right. So check your check. Yeah, check and see if you got it on there now.
No, I don't have it yet.
You say you don't see it yet?
Nope, I don't see it yet. Let me check my business page, see if it's on there. Nope, I do not see it yet.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna send it to you in Messenger.
Okay.
Let's see if that'll work. All right. Check your Messenger and see if you see it in there.
It said attachment unavailable. Is it on public or is it on friends?
Man, actually, I don't know, man. It's got this little lock on there.
Oh, I mean it's only for you. See if you can change it.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what that was, man. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Edit privacy. Okay. All right. Yeah, because all of my there we go. All right, check now. All of my stuff is always public. I don't know why I defaulted to that. But yeah, check now. I'm gonna send it.
Yeah, send it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it again. And then I'm gonna
There
try.
you go.
All right. And I'm gonna just
Send it again.
try.
I'm about to shut up my business page.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna just send it again.
And what's your call? It's called Wealth Talk Wednesdays.
Yeah. Well, you might want to mute the phone, mute the video on your phone. There you go. Yep.
Let me copy out this. All right. All right, brother, we can go.
All right, we are go, man. All right, let me pull up my Facebook page. All right, man. All right, so we finally got it going. Let's try to share this. If you're watching this, man, please share this with whoever you think would want to watch it. Share it definitely to one of your, any of the groups that you're a member of. We're gonna talk a little bit about business today. We're gonna talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. We're gonna talk about a little bit about investing, and hopefully, man, I won't keep our guests for too long, but I know it's gonna be a great conversation, and we definitely gonna drop some nuggets today. And just for anybody who's watching, so this is Wealth Talk Tuesdays. It's a segment that I basically started, man, I guess like 4 months ago. And the idea was to just talk about wealth, to talk about investing, to talk about freedom, to talk about the journey and the path that you go through, from literally starting from nothing, starting from the bottom, because that's, where I started. So my idea was just everything that I've learned during the course of my journey. I know there are a lot of people out there who could, who could use the same information and learn from my mistakes, learn from my wins, learn from my losses. And so that kind of is what started the idea of Wealth Talk Tuesdays, and to just have that conversation from poverty to wealth, and wealth being first a state of mind before, a state of your pocketbook or the state of your wallet or wherever the case may be. You have to be wealthy in mindset before you can be wealthy in life. And then as I've been doing this, one of the things that I saw a huge value in was just being able to introduce entrepreneurs. And one, I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, and I firmly believe that one, everybody is an entrepreneur, whether they approach their life that way or not. We are all in business for ourselves. And I firmly believe in the importance of entrepreneurship and having an entrepreneurial mind in the building block and in the process of building wealth. So I wanted to start featuring other entrepreneurs to talk about their journey, to talk about their thoughts on wealth, to talk about their thoughts on business, on entrepreneurship, and to highlight different entrepreneurs in different arenas, different industries, different sectors, with different products, with different services, just so that you can, so that I can give my audience the opportunity to see entrepreneurs across the spectrum who are all grinding in different ways, but ultimately we're all pretty much grinding for the same thing. We're grinding for freedom. We're grinding for legacy. We're grinding for wealth. So that's how we got here to Wealth Talk Tuesdays a day. Now, today, I want to give you all just a little bit about today's guest. We got Josea Stanford on. Just want to read a little bit about his bio, and he definitely is going to enlighten us in a little bit more. But he's an experienced actor and apparel and fashion industry model. He's also an investor, utilizing various tools and resources to invest in the largest and most liquid financial market in the world. He's multi-skilled and multifaceted, and he's also an advocate for the deaf and for the Black community. And he also gives back through a variety of philanthropic ways. So, without further ado, here's our guest today, Josea Stanford. Give him a virtual round of applause.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, I gotta get back to you, Kevin, man. I appreciate you for having me on this call. I actually like your show, man, because it gets a lot of value. The people that come on, they give tremendous value as well. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity of being on this call.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for agreeing to be on it, and definitely thank you for putting in the work and putting in the grind to, put yourself in position to give guys like me the opportunity to even interview. If you weren't pursuing what you love and pursuing your passion, then this moment right here in life wouldn't exist. So I appreciate you as well, man.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. So tell us a little bit about who you are, man. Just give us a rundown. Who is Josea Stanford?
Okay. I like this. Well, it's kind of different for me. I'm a middle child out of three siblings. I have an older brother and I have a younger sister. They both are deaf, so I use sign language to speak with them.
Mm,
And just growing up, it wasn't easy. Just watching my parents, watching my mom mainly. She was the one that was basically providing everything for me, and just watching her, create stability, and going through adversity, and she never, became mentally, or she never, lost her mental focus. That really drove me as I got older, because I would go through times when I was younger where we didn't have enough money to pay bills. We didn't have enough money to sometimes pay the rent, and it was like, how does she keep her focus? How does she maintain, her mindset, or how does she keep a positive mindset through it all?
mm,
And as I got older, I started realizing like, hey, how does she do this? How does she do that? How can I take away that kind of stress from her? How can I take away that extra work from her? And I started looking at, life situations started to hit me, and it started making me think about life different. And that's when perspectives start coming, opportunities start coming. And I just started looking at different ways to create opportunity. And, once I start, I was listening to this certain audio. I don't know if you heard, only if you listen to Earl Nightingale, but he has an audio tape called The Stranger's Secret.
mm,
And he was mentioning, you know, 10 things about life. He was like, we was born rich into this world. You know, like you said before, you want to be wealthy in your mind, right? And I listened to this audio, and he mentioned three key things that stuck out to me. They changed the way I think about life. He said, we was born rich. He said, you was born with your body, your mind, your thoughts. He said, all that right there can never get replaced. You know, but when it comes to your money, your home, they can always get replaced.
Mhm.
And I started thinking, I said, well, if I got to think like that, that means I got to start thinking. I got to start dreaming. I got to start, manifest. I got to start imagining. I got to start creating. And then from that moment on, I start looking at everything I do as an opportunity. And that's what really put me inside this position today.
I like that. So you started looking at everything as an opportunity, man. So you definitely, man, you got us off to a great start. A couple things I definitely want to circle back on. So just give us a little context first. How old are you, man?
I'm 23 years of age.
All right, 23,
23.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, 23, man. That's crazy. I got two brothers. One is what, 21 now. The other one is 23, about to be
Okay.
24. So
Yeah.
man, y'all,
Same here.
you right there. But man, that's an interesting start, man, about your mom and your brother and your sister. Is definitely interesting. It definitely helps explain why you're an advocate for the deaf. I thought when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's different. It's not a group or a demographic that people just kind of say I'm an advocate for, and you were very specific about that. So it definitely sheds a lot of light on that. And man, I can definitely understand and relate the just the background and the upbringing. And one of the things I found curious, or I found interesting, is you said as you got older, you gained more perspective and you started to think about, like, man, how did my mom do this? Like, how does she maintain her mental peace? How does she maintain her focus? How does she still provide in the face of adversity? And sometimes as kids or teens, one, we aren't conscious enough of that stuff, so we aren't really thinking about all the things that adults have to go through, to provide, to maintain. And as we get older, we start to understand, the complexities of life and how difficult, it can be mentally, man. So that's some insightful stuff. But so where are you from? Are you from Cincinnati?
Yeah, I'm from Cincinnati. It's crazy because it's hard to really answer that question. Like, what neighborhood are you from?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, man, growing up, stability was something that we really couldn't have consistently. It's always moving, it's always relocating. So like, I was born, start off in English Woods, then we end up moving off to Bahama Terrace. After Bahama Terrace, we stayed at Bahama Terrace for like 6 years, I believe. Moved to Mount Healthy for like 4 years, and then moved to Price Hill. After Price Hill, Hawaiian Terrace, and then we had a situation we went homeless for a little bit, and then we
Yep.
ended up moving to Roseline. I ended up moving to Delhi. So it's like, it's really a lot of places, where where I grew up from the upbringing. But I basically just say Cincinnati. Um, and like I said, man, it's a nice city, man. It's a city where you got to really grind. You can't really, you can't make no excuses, because I always say this quote is, within time, time going to expose or promote you. So at the end of the day,
Mm.
you can either sit here and complain about everything or go make something happen. And, people appreciate, I don't want to go too far off, but, people appreciate when you put in the work. A lot of times they might not congratulate you, but the work you're putting in, everybody's not doing that. Everybody's not looking for opportunities. They're not looking for, different ways to create. They're stuck on the regular system, the regular, way of getting a job, or, just having bills and taking one trip a year. And it's like, hey, personally, I feel like we were built more for that. We were built more than to just have a PTO weekend off, just to get checks and just pay bills and just go to the movies just to have fun. I feel like we should do more. I feel like we should have more time for ourselves, more peace, more self-care. A lot of stuff we should have, that I feel.
No, no, you're absolutely right, man. And I think definitely something about growing up in a struggle, man. When you grow up in a struggle, you basically have one or two options, right? You either gonna hit that enlightenment level and like, yo, I want something different, and I'm gonna, figure out how to do something different, and I'm gonna do it the legal way, or you gonna be like, you know what I'm saying, or you gonna be like, yo,
Right,
I want something different, but the only option I got is the block.
right.
And for me, just to give you a little bit about me, man, I can definitely relate to feeling like, man, it's hard for me to say, where I'm from, because I was actually born in D.C., but
Okay.
I was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between Cincinnati and D.C. because my mom really couldn't take care of me. My Never met my dad, didn't know what he looked like, so literally every year in the middle of the school year, I was being yanked out of school to go to
Mm,
Cincinnati. And then I was back in DC. And then, there were times where we were homeless,
yeah.
staying with people, all of that type of stuff. And it was something about that experience that was like, one, the motivation to want more,
Mhm,
and to put on that focus hat and say, yo, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. And then as you go through that process and you learn more about life and you learn that, hey, there is another way to live. You don't have to have this 9 to 5. You don't, or if you have a 9 to 5, you can still pursue a dream. You
mhm,
can take risk. Life doesn't have to be, the one vacation a year. And there are a lot of people who never, have the opportunity to take a vacation. But you don't have to live like that, and you don't have to settle for that. And it's a decision, and there are decision points that you have the ability to make that decision and then decide or figure out how you're going to do it, which is actually a good time to kind of transition. And we may come back, man, because there's a couple things I want to touch on, but that's a good way to transition into how did you so one, I'm always like, anytime I see somebody as an actor or a model, I'm always impressed, man. Like, you're right, because it's like actor, model, entertainer. That wasn't something that I even grew up really thinking about. I didn't grow up really around TV. What I mean? I didn't really grow up around cable. We just didn't have the money. So for me, entertainment wasn't something that I really latched on to. So how did you get into acting? How did you get into modeling? Like, how did you find your way into that, coming from such a rough, start in life?
It's crazy, man. Well, first I want to thank you for just, like I said, having me on this call again. But you know, I would say like back in 2016, I was working this job because I like a little bit of my background is I did a lot of sales. So I was working this job called the League of Conservation Voters, and I met this one of my coworkers there, and she was a model, and she was like, "Hey,
Mm.
they got this movie coming out downtown. They're looking for extras. You should come be in it. It's free. You're getting paid just to walk in the back." I'm like this, like at the time I was doing that, and I was also doing like landscaping and stuff. So I was like, nah, I'm okay. I don't want to get into the acting industry. She's like, look, just come there. You're gonna enjoy it. I'm telling you, just come. So I was like, all right. So I took that chance. I went, and when I got there, I was shocked. It was out there in Coney Island when we had the Survivor in Compton auditions, and when I went there, it was a private location. We had the little white vans with the tent windows, got the little trailers, for the little clothes. I'm over here like, wow, like this
It was
this
a whole
legit,
set. Yeah, it
a
was a
whole
whole
set.
set.
I'm over here like this legit. So I'm like, they gave me a paper. I had to fill out like my information for his taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I'm like, wow. They had the little makeup. I had to get my chin hair shaved. I
yeah.
was like, wow, this really legit. And like, when I was there, I was just getting access to that. I was just an extra. I wasn't the main character. I was just an extra. And
Mm.
like while I'm there, I got to be around different actors, songwriters. You got people that make clothing designers. I'm
Yeah.
like this, like, wow. So these are the same people that's looking to be an extra. So for me, I saw opportunity. And at the time, I look at Instagram, Facebook, and I was like, hey, you know what? Since before I started doing entrepreneurship, I was always big on networking. So I was like, hey, you know what? Since I'm not an actor, I'm gonna go ahead and just get these Instagrams. That's what I was saying to myself at the time. So I ended up getting like 60 Instagrams that day,
Yeah.
and that was the first day of the cast they had. So the second day we went on set, it was downtown in Cincinnati, I believe on a Sycamore Avenue. It was at the little, they got it. I think it's Sugar and Spice now. We had used that diner before to like do like a scene, and I just saw how packed it was, and I was like, wow, like all these people do acting. I said, if if it's crowded like this and everybody like entertainment, that means I can be that person to get them influence. So I said, you know what? How can I influence them inside entertainment? So then I said, you know what? I'm going to take it further. So at the time, I took a little break in 2016, and then 2018 came. My mom started a little audition. I took a break on it. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get into stay with business. I wasn't serious yet, so I took a break on it. And in 2018, it was they had like this talent group come around and look for talent. And I'm actually still signed with these people. The talent agency that found me was Talent Inc. They had came in to Kentucky. My mama sent me a flyer like, hey, you need to go to this audition. You go audition, looking for models, singers, whatever. I want you to go there and you're going to perform. So I was like, well, yeah. I was nervous for a little bit. So I actually went, and it was like 65 people inside the room. It was like, they said they was only taking 10 people out of 65. And they had guys model, they had kids model, they had grown women model, they had people sing, they had people doing acting that said scripts. We did like a little commercial. And I did all three. I did everything above. I did the model walk. I sung for. I was nervous, but I sung
like,
for.
Can you sing, or you was just like,
yeah, I can sing.
Okay, nice.
I can sing, but I try to be low key, man. That's like one of my hidden secrets.
One of my hidden secrets.
It's one of my hidden secrets. I don't want to tell nobody yet, but I got into it, and it was crazy because that same night they called me. They said everybody gonna receive a phone call. We're gonna let you know if you're gonna go to the next level. And they called me, and I was nervous because it was like, hey, how you doing, Mr. Stanford? I said, I'm doing good. They said, well, this is the hard decision to make. We're looking for 10 people, and we really thought hard about this. And we have to say, we want you to come in tomorrow. Can you come in tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, come in. They're like, go ahead, congratulations, man. So I called my mom. She came with me to look at the paperwork. So basically, it don't matter where I go from now on, they're going to be that person, like, vouch for me, promote me, along my journey, my acting career. So that's when I got back into acting, and then I started looking at, different gigs to get in. So I started doing theater, I started doing movies, and I'm on some projects right now. We just got done filming a little short clip, like a little funny clip we did, but I'm also inside a TV series called Blafia coming out soon. So look out for that. It's gonna be working on the season right now. So
so you real live acting, bro.
Yeah, come on, man.
Hey, listen, man. I gotta definitely give you your props, man, because every day you dropping a different photo. I'm like, come on, man. Like, this dude, how many you got in the cell, man? You just dropping a new photo every day.
I appreciate it. But I'm trying to be like you, man. You smooth for real.
Nah, man. It's funny you say that because I was just about to say, it's funny because for me, I'm a much older dude than you, man. I remember I always do this to my brothers when I was your age, but but man, when I was 23, Facebook had really just come out. People weren't really using it like that. There were a couple people, who I knew on campus. I think 23, I was finishing up school. 22, people have been using it, but I hadn't really used it a lot. And I don't even think I found out about Instagram until I think like 2016. I used it for a little bit, but anyway, long story short, it's funny because before, networking used to be, let me get your business card, right? Like, go to this event, let me get your business card, we exchange information. And then usually there's like, that's it. People don't follow up with business cards, nothing like that. But with the next generation, even back then, you were so used to utilizing the technology and the social media. It was like, all right, how many IGs can I pull? And with you, making those connections, having that ability, the confidence to talk to people, right? You got to be able to talk to people. That sales background definitely, came into play. But and these are just some of the things that helps make you successful as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. But being willing to talk to people, right? Being willing to network, being able to leverage the social media and the technology, being able to build those relationships and all of those things. So just a couple things I wanted to touch on, man, in your journey. But it's funny, because it took me years to even really get comfortable with social media. And, even now, man, I'm still learning. So.
What's crazy? I want to go back on. I don't mean to go off the subject, but I want to go back on when you was mentioning, just networking. Like far as getting Instagrams, Facebooks. What's crazy? What really stuck out to me, like I said before, was perspective. My perspective started to change. So I didn't necessarily look at it as like networking. It was more like complimenting. It was like, hey, look, I love your shirt, bro. Oh, for real? Yeah. Hey man, you know what? Look, you got Instagram. It was that easy, and like you building Instagram like that. And it's just like a regular, somebody, they might like your page, they follow. But it's like this, like, it's not, to me, it wasn't the confidence. It was mostly just for fun. It was like, hey, is it they going to do it or not? I don't really care. At the end of the day, it's like, I just want to expose myself. Like, hey, I want to just basically give you my hand so you can know who I am, so I can know who you are. Let's connect with each other. You know what I mean? And it stopped becoming, more of a like feeling more of like, man, oh, like suspense. It wasn't suspense to me no more. And for us, like you just mentioned, like Facebook first got started. It's crazy because Snapchat was big, and I don't have a Snapchat, and it was like a lot of people use that for marketing, and to me, it's personally, I don't really use it because kind of I don't know how to use it for real. Just but like over time, I was looking at the way like how everything transcended for us, like going from emails, to business cards, and then having technology for us, Instagram, Facebook. It's crazy because it just depends on the age group. Like some people they like to use email still, for as events, updates, and the younger generation, Instagram, Facebook. So it's like really, it's just who you want to like have inside your circle. That's the best way to really market them. Or say you want to contact, say they contact. That's because a lot of people like to use phone numbers instead of Instagrams. You know what I mean? So it just really depends on who you want to really target as your group wise.
Mhm. Man, I like the perspective you had on connecting with people where you said, man, it was a compliment, right? I just give somebody a compliment.
Yeah.
That's a that's a great strategy for breaking the ice, because one of the they always say the one of people's top fears is public speaking, right? And extending from public speaking is starting a conversation with a stranger, right? But if you have a very simple strategy that's effective and it's genuine, right? Like, hey, genuinely, hey, give a person a compliment. It gives you a strategy to break the ice. It immediately sends a positive vibe, to that person and gets that conversation, started off on the right note. And then it gives them an opportunity to talk about themselves, to talk about something that obviously is going to make them feel good because somebody recognized them for something that they decided to do that day. So I definitely like that, man. That's a great perspective. And then, yeah, you're definitely right, man. Social media, one, it moves so fast and
Yeah.
it's going from platform to platform. I could tell you, man, just kind of like based on how I see things and just kind of the research. I think at least right now, I think Facebook is always going to be king.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Facebook is always going to be king. And then from what I've read, ultimately, so we talk about business. You always got an owner mindset, right? So whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, social media, or Snapchat, you don't own those followers, right? Like they're in your orbit, but you don't own it. Now,
Don't.
if some were to happen, you get hacked, you get banned, banned from a platform or what have you. All of those followers could disappear overnight. So outside of Facebook being king, the most valuable asset in terms of I like to call it social wealth, right? Like social
Mm-hmm.
currency. I think nowadays this economy, literally social currency is more valuable than anything because we all have the ability to build our own economy based on our social network. And that's where your internet marketing and all that digital strategy comes into place. But the most valuable piece of data in terms of your relationship with somebody else is the email. Because even if it's a young person, as everybody has to have an email, right? Like if you apply for a job, they're not going to say I mean, this may change, but they're not going to say, hey, we're going to send you your job offer
Right.
through, you know what I'm saying,
Instagram.
through Instagram or something like that,
Right.
right? So
Right.
like email is the most valuable. So the strategy then becomes, okay, how can I pull this relationship off of this third party platform of Instagram, IG, or whatever, and then pull them into my ownership orbit where I've extended that the relationship to where now I'm directly connected to them via the email. And then from there you utilize all the other stuff to maintain and build and initiate that relationship.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's easier to organize too, as far as email. Like just it's crazy because when you first get an email, you like the I guess the whole little front of it, the emails, like man, this background looks old. When you think about it, it's so organized. It has the dates, times. It has the who you can put important. You can put start. You can literally make your own folder. And like it's crazy because the more serious you get to entrepreneurship, the more serious you get to business. The biggest thing you gotta have is organization. You gotta be very organized. And like far as emails, it's very, it's so good because it's like, say I want to just have like a folder just for like business, right? And I can just put like a little pipeline of customers or whatever. inside that folder, I can just send them all the same email at the same time without having to click on everybody's. You can, look at Facebook and Instagram, you can send like 10 messages, per hour, you know what I mean, before you get blocked. So it's like with an email, you can send 100 messages to 100 people at one time, so it's like, even though it's an old, it's an old type of method, it's very effective,
Very
you know what I mean?
effective.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very effective. All right. So let's see, man. It's 7:30. So I want to touch on a couple other aspects, man, of your profile. So, but one thing I like that you just mentioned, and it's funny because I had just mentioned this to a client the other day, one of my coaching clients, is organization. And how important organization is in business and entrepreneurship. And one of the things that I find is that the more you can organize and essentially manage, right? That pretty much dictates how big or how successful you ultimately become, because you're learning to become more organized and more efficient at the business at hand, whatever that business is. So I thought that was definitely important. And one question, I remember somebody had asked me this years ago when I was doing a presentation, so I just wanted to ask you this because you had mentioned it. How important would you say creativity is? Because you mentioned creativity. How
yeah.
important would you how important would you say creativity is to you as a person, and especially to you as a business owner and entrepreneur? How important would you say creativity is? And then what are some of the things that you feel that you do to stimulate and work your creativity muscle?
Oh man, I gotta say, creativity is very important, because when you think about it, we all have our own personalities, right? So you got to create an identity for yourself.
Mm.
Like the reason you want to be very creative, because you want to be authentic. You don't want to be someone copy and pasting somebody else's stuff. Like people gonna ask you at the end of the day, who are you? The first thing they're gonna ask you, who are you? When they have a conversation, they're gonna ask you, what do you think about this? What is your opinion? So you gotta ask yourself, how do you present yourself on social media? How do you present yourself as a person? Because even though whether you like it or not, you are a business. Each person, it don't matter who we are a business. Whenever you send somebody a message, whenever you talk to somebody on the phone, whenever you meet somebody, you're giving them an impression. It's either they're going to take it as, what, I'm going to take you as a business partner, or I'm going to take you as a friend. They're going to put you into a category based off the first impression you give them. So when it comes to your creativity, that's very important, because you want to see, what kind of background, what kind of audience do you want to attract? If you don't have no serious audience, no serious, type of creativity, or no serious value, you're not going to create, you're not going to, you're not going to attract no people that's serious to your business. You're going to attract people that got the same mindset as you. So wherever you take yourself, as far as creativity, you're going to attract the same thing in return. So that creativity is very important when it comes to, having your business or building something, period.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally concur. I think creativity is everything, man. It's everything. It's so many. It comes into play so many different ways, and you touched on a lot of them. One thing I want to point out that you mentioned, this is definitely important, is authenticity, man. You
Yeah.
you got to be authentic. Like you got to be authentically you, and by you being authentically you, that's what helps create the environment, like you said, for you to attract people to you, right? Like for example, we could we're having this this live today. There are people who could be watching and they're like, I like Kev, or I like Jose, or I don't like him, or I don't like him.
Right.
Let's say we have the same business, right? And we're just going back and forth talking about business.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to be attracted to you for various reasons, and somebody's going to be attracted to me for various reasons. The nuances of personality and experience and all of that type of stuff. But that's why it's important that you're authentically you.
And I want to say on that, I want to agree with you, because the reason why you want to be authentic and have your own creativity is because you want people to relate to you. It's like you said before, somebody might not like me, they might like you. They might not like you, they might like me, because they can relate to me. They might be like, what, it's something that he's saying that sticks to me. It's something that Kevin is saying that I can feel. I can just tell. I like the way he explained it. It's just little things like that. People don't really, they think they think those are small things, but those are very big. Those are very big things right there. People look out for those, the voice, the tone, the figure, the appearance. Those are People
That's
look
the
at
real. That's
those.
the real. That's the
You
real.
know, and it's crazy because you wouldn't think that. You'll think like, man, well, you know, he has more money than me, or she's making more money than me, or he's more successful, whatever. You'll think they'll go to that person, but nah, in reality, they want you the whole time. But you
Mm-hmm.
have that confidence. You have low confidence in yourself. Like, well, you know, I don't know why. And you can't have that. So authenticity, creativity, that's very big because you want to create that image for yourself, you know, so people can literally, you know, follow you, be around you, or even help you, you know, with your image, you know. So that's why it's very important, you know, to have your own identity.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. So let's transition a little bit more. All right. So next up is the behemoth, man. Let's talk about this forex thing, man. This
Okay.
investing thing.
Okay.
So all right. So let me little check my little question list. Make sure I'm touching on all my questions. All right. So yeah, just start off, man, and tell us, what is forex and how did you get into forex?
Okay. So what is Forex? Forex is basically a short for the foreign exchange market. This is actually the largest market inside the world. It makes a minimum of $6.6 trillion per day. This is basically the exchange between all the currencies around the world. And the best thing about it is that instead of you going to like a trip, like say you like want to go out the country, because as you guys know right now, excuse me, you know, we got COVID right now. And it's like it's kind of hard to travel. You know what I mean? You can't really go out like you want to because of a lot of the restrictions and shutdowns. So instead of us having to go to, you know, to the airport or go to like a little Bitcoin machine or a exchange market, whatever, you can just use your phone and change. You can trade the market from your phone. So that's basically what Forex is. It's actually a skill that I feel like we all should learn. It's been out ever since currency was made. You know, ever since we had currency, the market's been open because it has value on the dollar. So this is actually a market that's it's very volatile at times, depending on what you're trading. You can actually trade, you know, currency pairs. You can trade exotics. You can trade indices. You can trade stocks in there. It's a market that where you can make money both ways, whether it decreases or increases. You can make money inside this market.
Hmm. So so let's because I have no idea who's watching. So there may be someone watching who has never been out the country. So let's break it down to its most basic. Seriously, I mean, you never know, man. We publish this to tens of thousands of people, so you never know. If for someone who's never been out the country, what is so if I say I want to go to Europe and I just want to take my American dollars, will I be able to spend my American dollars in Europe? Right.
Okay, so the biggest thing about that is like you want to. The reason why we have exchanges within a currency is because different countries have different values on the dollar. Like for example, the euro dollar is one of the strongest dollars inside the world. So say I was to go to like go to euro, that $1 I had would probably be a couple of cents inside their country. So like if I was to exchange it, I wouldn't get a $4 back. I wouldn't get a $1 compared to US dollar. I probably get like 50 cents to $1. And the biggest thing about that is because different countries have different currencies, they have different economies, different jobs. They might have a better stability for us, you know, unemployment with jobs. So that makes their the value of the dollar stay at a strong level. And you look at some countries, they might have a bad economy. They might have a bad, you know, job system, bad employment. And I don't really want to put countries out there, but you know, some countries, like for example, say I was to go to like Puerto Rico or somewhere like that, they would have, you know, I would have to change my currency to prior to like pesos. I have to go to Mexico. So I have to go to Mexico. I have to change my US dollar into pesos. Now pesos will be, I'll get way more money into return because it has a less powerful market. It's not as strong as the US as far as the economy, jobs. I'm just being honest. You know, the pay
Yeah.
wage is different. So like when it comes to like me taking one US 20, I'll probably get 40 pesos in return. And now say the market, say we just had something tremendous happen. Like for example, we just had the election, right? So now say like we say just Biden decided to not give us stimulus checks. The value of the dollar would increase because that's less money getting put out. So that means the value of the US dollar would increase. So by that time, I also come back from Mexico to the United States, I'll probably get more money into return because the US dollar increased. So that's basically how we make money inside the exchange. But instead of doing that physically, you can do that from the market on your phone. So
On your
that's how
phone.
we do that.
Hmm. Yep. No, that's great, man. Yeah, because I mean, man, it's crazy. I've been fortunate, man, to travel all around the world, And so, of course, I've got firsthand experience with, the exchange rates and the currencies. And it's crazy because I literally didn't really know what Forex was really until my brother started really promoting it and doing it. I mean, I had saw people, here and there, but I didn't really investigate it too much. And it's so funny because all the years that I had been traveling internationally, had I known I could be, utilizing that experience and that knowledge to be investing while I'm on the beach in Nicaragua or something like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
it just would have been cool, even if I could have made a little bit of money to help pay for that trip. But that's one of the powerful things about Forex too, is that, like you said, you can do this from your phone. So it gives you ultimate freedom and flexibility on where you are located. And no matter where you're located, you can literally produce income, you can produce revenue, right?
big facts. So I'm like this, like, the crazy thing about it, like everybody would ask me that question as far as like getting started. And I want to just say like this before I actually go into depth, like, a lot of people get, it's a lot of companies out here that do, like Forex and stuff. But the biggest thing about starting your journey is that you want to have a mentor. And that's where anything you do, you want to have somebody that did it before you to teach you the ropes. Because a lot of times somebody would get started into Forex and not know what to do. Because, the thing about Forex, even though it's very good for us, like making money on the go, you want to know exactly how to do it. Because when you think about it, it's like, it's like, it's like playing the game and not knowing how to play the game. It's like you see everybody else winning at the game and then nobody show you what to do. You like, how I'm supposed to play the game? It's like playing Uno and nobody show you how to do a draw two or a draw four. And you see everybody else giving you four cards. You're like, man, how they doing that? Like, how they get to make that move? So it's like it gives you a better perspective on like, man, I don't like to play Uno. And that could change your narrative on playing Uno with anybody else because you probably would have been a person to show them like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna play Uno, but I'm gonna show you. Have you played Uno before? Nah, I played it, but I had a bad experience. You might go, okay, great. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. And matter of fact, I'll let you beat me the first time, just so you can know how it feels to win, and so you get comfortable using the moves, the cards and stuff. So it's like with Forex, it's very simple, but it also comes down to principles. You gotta have risk management skills. You're gonna learn that along the way because it's gonna humble you. You're gonna have good days where you make a lot of money, and then if you don't have risk management and you be too greedy, it can be gone in a second because you didn't have risk management to know, you know what, I can't risk that much inside this trade, or I can't risk this much money inside the trade. So it's like it's a lot of different principles that come with trading. You got to have risk management. You got to be disciplined. You got to be patient, but at the same time, it does pay you. But at the same time, you got to look at it as a process. It's a skill. It's something that's going to pay you for the rest of your life. And one thing that I want to say on this as well is that just think about you learning, however old you are, learning about Forex now. I want you to ask yourself, why are you learning that now? How come they never taught you that in school? For real, how come they never
Oh,
taught you that
absolutely.
in school? Because think about it, I always joke around, with the young, I got a lot of millennials that do it and they like to rush the process. Like, man, I gotta hit. I'm like, look, it's people I know in their 40s and 50s, they just not making 10,000. So when you think about it, it's like this is a process that can get you there. But along the way, you have to be a student. You have to trust the process, and I was telling some high school, I said, bro, if I was doing this in high school, I probably make more money than my teachers in school. That's why they want to teach us how to do it.
No, absolutely.
But yeah.
No, absolutely, man. I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you a question, and I was just thinking how to ask it. And I think so. I'm trying to get. I want to get to a point with this question. So it's not calling you out at all, but I want to get to a point. Did you get a 4-year degree? Did you go to college and get a 4-year degree?
Never went to school, man. I just graduated my high school diploma.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. No, that's exactly what I want to point out because one, especially now, the people are really starting to ask the question: is college really worth it? And I went to two colleges for 5 years. Spent a lot of money, spent a lot of time, spent a lot of energy. Got a degree in business, accounting, and international business. Definitely had fun. Definitely had the network thing. All the education, but coming out of school, you still only making $40,000 a year. I think at the time engineers were the top average pay, and that was like 45 or 47 or maybe 50,000 or something like that. Then of course, if you go and get your master's or your doctorate or law degree, you're amassing a significant amount of debt to become an employee. When ultimately, a lot of the things that you talked about, and I want you to kind of touch on this a little bit more, but ultimately, as we said, you're ultimately an entrepreneur. So whether you have a job or whether you don't, you still got to figure out how to invest that money and learn the mindset and the ideas behind investing, and taking this money, churning it in the investment to create this new opportunity. And one of the things I like about Forex, and definitely what you guys are doing, is that you're learning this investor mindset from a very early age. And that investor mindset can transfer over into other investments as you evolve as an investor, as you evolve with your confidence and with your bank account and all that good stuff. But I wanted to ask you, to kind of follow up with that statement, I want to ask you about some of the things that you have learned from trading Forex outside of the actual act of trading Forex, because you've talked a lot about changes in the economy due to this major event. You talked about risk management. You've talked about principles, right? You've talked about very short and certain things that a lot of 23-year-olds with the college degree aren't talking about. And if they are, they're talking about it maybe from a textbook standpoint, as they put together, a paper, as they study some company in a book. But you're talking about this stuff from a real world perspective. So what are some of the other areas, or some of the things that you think you've learned from investing in Forex, but not the actual act of investing in Forex?
I got the answer for you. Numbers. Numbers speak for itself. So as I mentioned, I remember we talked about it before about being organized, right, with the schedule. I actually got my calendar right here. I was finishing out my schedule, right, for this week. I was finishing out my schedule, and I was like, what's crazy? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So like, what's crazy was this, like, numbers is what's going to give you a destination. A lot of times people just want to make money, and they don't know how much money they want to make. Like, for example, the thing about the Forex market, it makes a minimum $6.6 per day. So that means you can make as much as you want to make it to this market, as long as you got that capital. So what this is what really been a game changer for me. I will always ask everybody, I said, how much money do you make? How much money do you make a year? And they'll look up their tax and then see that. I said, okay, great. I want you to divide that by 12. That's how much you make in a month. Now, I want you to divide that by 5 or 7, depending on how many days you want to trade per week, right? If you want to trade 5 days a week or 7, I want you to divide it by the days of the week you're going to trade. And now you'll come up with a number. That number is how much you're going to make per day, right? Now, that's how much you need to have saved up. You can keep the job. Like, the thing about Forex, you don't have to quit your job. You can still keep your job and trade, right? But now you got an amount of money you're going to have saved up. My goal is this. You want to make double that. You don't want to make that. You want to make double that. Why? Because you want to quit your job. We're teaching you how to quit your job, because why? You want to have time freedom. Say something happened to your family, you want to be there for them. Because as you know, time is something we can't get back. Like this call, I love this call because it's like, bro, I can't get it back, but I treat it as very valuable. It's beneficial. It's not something that I'm wasting my time. And the purpose of being organized is because you got to learn how to value your time along the way. Like, people will understand, like, for example, you say people went to college for 4 years, 2 years. That's time they can't get back, but they still working a regular job like somebody else. They still competing with somebody else. Think about colleges. Colleges are inside every state. They have minor colleges, they got major colleges, and these are people that's fighting for the same job. And I mentioned before, you said everybody's an entrepreneur, right? Just think about it. We all went to school. Period. It don't matter where you go. You went to school somewhere. You don't care if you didn't graduate high school. You went to school somewhere. And while you was in school, what did they do? They gave you subjects, right? And each subject represents different types of courses, right? They're different trainers, they're different classes. That's basically telling you, like, hey, you have the skill to do science. You have the skill to multiply inside math. You have the skill to do business. You have the skill to work, to be an athlete, gym. You got a skill to do art. They put you out all the different subjects to show you, like, hey, these are money-making jobs. These are money situations. These are money opportunities right here, right? Not just a trade, right? They took trades out of school, but you can still get a trade at another school, right? At a vacation school or whatever, right? The biggest thing about it is that schools taught you that, hey, these are different tools, these are different subjects for you to make money inside it. If you want to be a biologist and also be an actor, you can do it. You want to be an athlete and still do math, you can do that, right? It just shows you like, hey, you can do different things. You're bound to make money inside different ways. So why are we confused when we just work on one job? Why are we working a job we don't like when we went to school and got A's inside the class? If you got A's in the class, obviously you like to do that. So why not make money inside that field? You know, so it's like it's crazy how they had everything structured, you know, but the biggest thing is that they never taught us how to have risk management. They never taught us, you know, how to look at numbers, how to calculate your bills, what you're supposed to be looking for, how to save. They always said save $5, $10, but everybody don't want to save $5 and $10. You know, we don't want to retire at 65 years old, 70 years old. I heard the average lifespan is 74 years old and people get retired at 65. I can't do it. I can't live like that. So one of the biggest things is that you want to calculate your numbers, because the thing about math, if you want $10,000, if you do 10,000 divided by 12, it's going to give you an answer. And now you know how much money you need to make per month to make $10,000. So it's like, you know, the biggest thing about being organized and actually knowing where you want to get to create financial stability, where you want to get to be free, you gotta come up with your numbers, because numbers, like literally, numbers is the answer, right? Success is math. That's period. Success equals math.
I like it. Whew. All right, man. You definitely laid it on us, man. One of the things I was thinking about, you know, as I was listening to you talk, man, there's when you go to a higher, what do they call it, higher institution of learning, part of that process, that indoctrination process, in a way, it puts limitations on your mental, I don't want to say your mental capacity, but it puts limitations on how you see yourself, how you value yourself, how you see your worth, and how you see what you're worth, right? And you automatically start to associate your capacity for earning with what the job is going to pay you when you come out, after you just spent all of this time at this higher institution of learning to become qualified for this job, and then not having the education and the exposure to these other things and these other people doing, you know, getting money outside of the corporate structure or what have you. You really start to associate yourself with those limiting beliefs and those limiting thoughts. And so I'm for real, man. And I'm for real.
I agree with you.
It's a process, man, that people have to go through. And definitely, man, if anybody is watching this and you understand what I'm saying, I definitely don't want this to come off as, you know, talking about anybody or talking about anything, but discussing the evolution and the maturation that we all naturally have to go through as we try to get to a point where we're taking more control over our life. Because essentially, you know, that's what we're doing. We're taking more control over our life, and we're not allowing the common narrative to determine what's best for us in this one life we have.
You know what's crazy, bro? I like the fact, I like how you put that. You was mentioning, you know, like over time, like, you know, the older people lose time. They start losing time. You know, people they get 40, like, man, it's about that time, about to be 50, I'm about to just go ahead. No, I'm serious, you know, and it's like people like, man, I'm about to hit 30, like I'm about to be 24 next month, right? And it's like, dang, I'm about to be 25 next year, you know. So it's like now, like you put all these hard standards on yourself, all these hard goals, and that's good to have goals, but you cannot defeat yourself from it. You know, one thing I heard, what's the guy that made Tesla?
Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk. He said this.
Who just sent the astronauts into space?
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. He had a goal. He said this. He said, I create my 10-year goal and try to accomplish it inside 1 year. Right? And you think about it, he said, I know. He said, even if I fail it, I was close to where I knocked out 5 years at 1 year.
Major. That's major.
That's major. And when you think about it, you know, I listen to people all the time, and it's not funny because I hear it a lot, right? But it's like, say I'm talking to somebody older about Forex, the opportunity, they would say, hey, man, you know, it's for younger people. I don't see myself doing it. And when you think about it, the billionaires out the world, they all investors, period. The billionaires inside the world, they're all investors. You know, if you look at it, they're hedge fund managers, they're brokers. There's something where they're investing money and the money's coming into them. That's period.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it, like you said, limited beliefs. They say, you know what? I'm 40 now. I don't know if I can do this. It takes energy, and I don't know if I could do it. In reality, it don't take energy. It just takes strategy. It just takes, you know, being disciplined. I don't know. Are you willing to look at the chart for like 4 hours a week, 10 hours a week, 4 hours a week, 3 hours, whatever, however time you have to be free? Are you willing to, you know, put your focus on the market? Are you willing to put your focus on what's going to pay your bills? And a lot of times, the more you get older, like you said, it's two parts of the brain that people get stuck on. You know, right? You got the conscious and you got a subconscious mind. The subconscious is telling you, no, your answer's already made up inside your subconscious mind, right? The conscious mind is a young, like you said, younger generation. How come they're conscious? Because they're younger. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of us are not conscious. A lot of us, they don't want to learn. They just say, you know what, I don't want to do it, and they just gonna work a job. That's just the mindset. Unfortunately, they want to do that. But the people that have a conscious mind, these are people that's open, right? That's willing to, you know, try new things. You know what? I'll try it. If it don't work, it didn't work. You know, but I learned this is what went wrong. Now you got people like that. It's a weird majority of people like that. You know, it's out their 30s and 40s, but those are the people that's still willing to learn. That's still willing to look for new opportunities, and those are the ones that's willing, you know, that's gonna get put out of the situation to win, to be around people that guide you. Because say they run into one of us that can actually show them the ropes, like, hey, this is how you're gonna do it, and then all they need is one time to come up, and they good.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like a lot of the majority of the world, everybody used to just making money one way. They got a subconscious mind. And with a subconscious mind, that's the most horrible thing to have, because once you got decisions made up here, it's gonna transfer to your body, which is it's gonna turn to actions. So now you're gonna say no to everything. If it ain't a job, I ain't gonna do it. If it ain't paying me 16 an hour, I ain't gonna do it. And the bad thing about it, 15 an hour, that's you know, I don't want to put money on a market, but 15, you can do that in minutes. 15 at what? So it's different, you know. It's money. I'm just saying, I can't
real,
you know,
I got it.
you know. So it's like it's crazy, but you know, when you show somebody that, they be like, man, that's too good to be true. I don't know. It's like selling a house. You know, I'm not a real estate agent yet, right? I know you are. I know you're good in the real estate. But I was looking at my information, and it's like, for me, I was like, man, you know, if I sell a house for $100,000, I'm going to get at least 10%. I thought I was going to get 10%. They said, no, you get 3%, and then you got to split that 3% with your broker. I said, wow, so I'm going to get like 1,600. So it's like, when you think about it, it's a lot into it. But people always say they want to be a real estate agent, they want to be a realtor. But are you really serious? Once you get in, they show you the ropes. Do you really want to do this?
Yeah.
Are you willing to sustain being an agent before you become a broker?
Mm-hmm.
It's different, bro.
Yeah, it's levels, and no matter what hustle you ultimately decide on, or you know, the hustles that you choose, there's a journey and a process of learning, and you have to, you know, get to the level of sufficiency, self-sufficiency, mastery, and that takes time, right? Like you talked about, some of the young folks, they want them immediate results, and it doesn't matter what you do. Nothing is going to have, you might have an early win, but you're gonna have to learn how to grow and sustain, and that takes time. Definitely, man. But it's 7:58. I just wanted to say, man, if anybody is watching this, man, one of the things you know you touched on is you know, age, and as people get older, the honest truth is people lose hope, and people lose hope. They get beat up by life, and it's hard for them to, you know, recover mentally, you know, and really that's ultimately it, because if you can't recover mentally, you can't turn it around. But you know, for anybody watching this, man, one of the things that as I, you know, live my life and I look towards, you know, 70 and 80, man, and 90, hopefully, and 100, is like, man, it's not over until it's over, man. Until the casket drops, right? Until that casket drops, man, you still have the opportunity to live. You still have the opportunity to learn. You still have the opportunity to pursue a passion. You still have the opportunity to discover a passion, right? You still have the opportunity to turn it around. Every single day that you wake up is an opportunity, and you have to decide what you are going to do with that opportunity every day that you are given the opportunity to wake up. So, man, it is not over until that casket drops. And if you heard anything tonight that sparked your interest, definitely, Josea, how can they get in touch with you? Let them know how they can get in touch with you. Reach out to me, reach out to him, get connected with somebody who's doing something that you find positive, something that you're interested in. Build a new network, build a new support group. But man, just take a step in a different direction and stay committed and stay faithful and have belief, man, that you can change it around. But it's not over until it's over. So how can they get in touch with you, man?
I'm actually on every platform. If you got Facebook, I'm under Josea Stanford, Josea, and then last name like Stanford University. I'm on Instagram under Pulgi. That's under PULLGI_. And a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? It stands for passion, unity, life, love, greatness, inspiring. And I'm also under Twitter under Pulgi as well. If you have YouTube, I'm on YouTube. I drop a lot of financial literacy on there. A lot of what I do is on there as well under Pulgi. And I also have a well, if you want my email, just like feel free to reach one of my pages or contact me through phone number 513-824-2107. If you got any questions for us financial literacy, want to get started with Forex, just send me a message with free, and I know what the message is. But other than that, man, I really do appreciate you, Kevin, for letting me hop on this call, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It was a great conversation, man. I enjoyed it, and I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot. So thank you for your wisdom, man, and your insight and your experience, and for you powering through your own grind, man. I definitely appreciate it. And it was great having you on the call.
Likewise, bro.
All right, take care. Peace.